Shree Sai Satcharita, Chapter 52. An overall view which summarizes the book. I bow down to Shri Ganesh. I bow down to Shri Saraswati. I bow down to the Guru. I bow down to the family deity. I bow down to Shri Sita Ramachandra. I bow down to Shri Sadguru Sainath. Now let us do a review and thereby conclude the book with a table of contents and an overall view which summarizes the book. The experiences that Baba's devotees had when he was in body have been published in Sai Leela. Baba got this book written so that they could recollect them. Sai Leela is supremely pure and holy. In it, the Satcharita has been published in a serial form, chapter after chapter. Read this as the biography of your own Guru, Guru Charitra. It will awaken you and give you advice relating to this and the other world. There is a multitude of stories about Baba, yet this Hemad Pant, ignorant of intimate knowledge of scriptures or even knowledge in general, was made to write his biography by holding his hand in his own. In case of some gurus, they narrate their own fame to their disciples. After they leave their bodies, an inspiration arises to write a book about them. When Sai narrated stories of different kinds, they were deep and profound. The listeners became deeply engrossed and forgot their hunger and thirst. Those who have seen Sai with their own eyes have had their threefold miseries destroyed. He whose power was such, how can he be described in detail? Such a Sai who was famous for his magnanimity. Such a Sai who was famous for his magnanimity got this biography of his fame written down for the upliftment of those who were devoted to him. After bathing in the holy Godavari and taking darshan of Baba's Samadhi, listen to this Sai Satcharita. The threefold afflictions will be quelled. Just casually telling the stories about him leads one to unknowingly embrace spirituality. But when you glance at this book, a multitude of sins will be destroyed. Those who desire to end the cycle of birth and death, this wearisome coming and going, should enjoin themselves to the Guru's feet and constantly remember and chant his name with devotion. Inadvertence is the cause of illusory knowledge. Inattention to the form of Atma leads to the endless cycle of birth and death and is the root cause for ultimate destruction. Greed means illusory knowledge. What is not Atma, such as the body, mind, senses, and to have pride in that is called death by the wise after due consideration. If the ocean of Sai stories is churned, then the narration of Sai stories will be sweet and newer nuances will always surface. The downfall of the listeners will be averted. If one concentrates deeply on Sai's attributes, which are like a gigantic overflowing vessel, the form of the Atma, which is subtlest, will manifest after the disappearance of the physical form. Unless one gets absorbed in the physical, virtuous form with attributes, one cannot understand or realize the luster of the Atma. Parabrahma, without the attributes, is difficult to understand completely or is beyond comprehension. Sai pulled his own loving devotees who had faith with his might by having darshan of his feet, and while they were still in body, made them forget that body. They were put on the spiritual path without their knowing it. When the river embraces the sea, it forgets its identity. Similarly, when a devotee surrenders, Sai ensures that the devotee no longer has a feeling of duality or separateness. When two flames of a lamp embrace one another and become one, the dual state is immediately lost and they become one lamp with oneness. Can the camphor and its fragrance, the sun and its light, gold and its luster be truly separate? Just as the river on entering the sea becomes the sea itself truly, and the salt when put into the sea merges into the sea immediately, similarly when the devotees surrender to Sai, their separateness no longer remains. The devotees will become one with Sai, leaving aside their egos. Whether waking, dreaming or sleeping, in any of these states, if one is replete with the thoughts of Sai, then what else is it except a release from the worldly existence? So be it. Now, prostrating myself, I ask for this boon at your feet. Do not let my desires attract me to any other place suddenly. One who fills the space and the manifestation from Brahman to a pillar, from a small vessel to a house, like the sky within and without, and knows not the slightest differentiation, to whom all devotees are equal, to whom praise nor insult mattered, who found nothing pleasant or unpleasant, and who had not an iota of inequality. I surrender to that Sai Samartha, remembering whom results in everything being achieved. I place my head at his feet for all times so that I may be fulfilled. Now I offer my salutations to the virtuous listeners who are devout. You have been good friends. I request you truly to listen to what I say now. Every month you have set aside time to listen to the stories up till now. Do not forget him whose stories you heard even for a moment. As long as you listen to the stories of Sai with love, till that time, for me, who is the narrator, Sai gives enthusiasm or zeal. If the listeners are not completely attentive, the narrator can never be happy. Without mutual joy, futile is the trouble of listening. This ocean of existence is very difficult to cross, where innumerable waves of attachment rise and dash against the banks of bad thoughts, toppling down even trees of fortitude. Winds of egotism blow forcibly and make the ocean turbid and agitated. Huge crocodiles in the form of anger and hatred, etc., move there fearlessly. Innumerable eddies in the form of pride, of I and mine, cravings and suspicions whirl there. A multitude of marine creatures such as hatred, jealousy, disdain and such abound there. Even though this ocean is fierce and terrible, the Sadguru is its Agasti and will demolish it. Those who are slaves of the dust of his feet have no fear of it at all. Therefore, Sai Samartha Sadguru, by becoming the ship for crossing the ocean of existence, will take us all who have taken refuge in him to the other bank. This ocean of existence is extremely insurmountable. Make Sai's feet your boat, which will take us across to the other bank without fear. Observe the miracle of faith. By observing such a vow, one does not experience the acute pain of worldly existence. There is no other gain better than this. This itself is the strength that stands us in good stead. May the devotees attain such a state that they have a deep devotion at Sai's feet, and they keep Sai's form so firmly fixed before their eyes that they see only Sai in all creatures. By becoming self-willed in my previous birth, I have slipped. At least now I should achieve absolution by becoming free from desires. Blessed are those devotees of Sai who have this firm belief and are without fear that Shree Samartha is their protector and nothing can touch them. So be it. Now it occurs to me to ask a boon from him by holding on to his feet on behalf of all the devotees. I pray that this book reaches every home and is read and recited regularly that it is lovingly repeated ritually, and that it removes their difficulties. Whosoever reads this book within 7 consecutive days with love and faith after proper ablutions, his calamities will be removed. This book is woven with the threads of spirituality. It is full of stories of Krishna and Balaram. This book is woven with the threads of spirituality. It is full of stories of Krishna and the Brahman. It abounds with the essence or nectar of the unity of Brahman and the Atma, and it overflows with unparalleled joy of non-duality. This is Eknath's poetry, which is as pleasing as the Garden of India. It is the Vrindavan of 32 parts, chapters. The wise and the ignorant savor this sweet and pleasing dish made from milk. Listening to this Satcharita or reciting it regularly will result in the feat of Sai Samartha, removing all the difficulties without any delay. Those desiring wealth will get it. Those who are upright in their conduct and dealings will have complete renown. The results will depend upon their faith. Without devotion, you will not have the experience. Reading the book with reverence, Sai Samartha is propitiated. He destroys ignorance and poverty and grants knowledge and untold prosperity. This book was written due to an indication by Sai, and it was his secret desire. Blessed is that devotee who is attached to his feet. One should make it a practice to read at least one chapter of this Satcharita every day with a calm and concentrated mind. It will bring immeasurable joy and happiness. One who desires his own welfare should really read this book. He will be obliged by Sai through all the cycles of life, and he will remember Sai with overwhelming joy in birth after birth. The book should definitely be read at one's own home at Sai's festivals such as Guru Purnima, Gokulashtami, Punyatithi and Ramanavami. One's status in the next birth is determined by the desires of the mind in this one. The Shastras also support the belief that one is born again according to one's tendencies at the time of death. Shree Sai is the support of his devotees. Without him, the impediments in our way are not destroyed. What is the wonder in finding that the mother has tender feelings for her children? How can I narrate stories beyond this? The words fail me. It seems that it would be better to be silent. This would be the best way to praise him. Yet, if one has an accurate desire for liberation, then perform only virtuous deeds always. Practice the 9 forms of devotion, including listening to his stories, etc., and one will be purified from within. This is not possible without the grace of the Guru. Without him, there is no knowledge of the Supreme Being. One who always remembers that I am Brahman has firm faith and inclination towards the Guru. The relationship is like that of a father and son between the Guru and the disciple. The word Guru is only used as an honorific. The father makes one worthy of worldly happiness, but the Guru grants happiness in this world as well as the other. The father gives transient wealth, but the Guru grants that which is boundless. He will make you experience the imperishable and place it in your hands without your knowledge. The mother keeps one inside the womb for 9 months and then brings one out after birth. The Guru is the opposite of the mother. He takes you in from the outer self. The Guru is the opposite of the mother. He takes you in from the outer self. Ultimately, remembering the Guru constantly at the time of leaving the body, the disciple will be absorbed in Brahman, undoubtedly goaded by the Guru. The impact of the hand of the teacher when striking will lead to the uprooting of birth and death. And if the teacher brings about the fall of the raiment, that is body, then who indeed is more fortunate than the disciple? It will be necessary for the Guru to take in the hand a sword, a mace, a battle axe or a pike or some other instrument. On being struck, the disciple will have a real consciousness and the corporal form of the great preceptor will be seen. Howsoever much one cares for the body, at the point of time it is going to perish. Howsoever much one cares for the body, at some point of time it is going to perish. Therefore, if it is struck by the Guru's hand, he will be relieved of the next birth. Strike me so much so as to kill me, and cut off my pride from its roots, whereby there will be no rebirth. Strike me in such a way that it is difficult for me to endure. Burn my deeds, good and evil, end my righteous or unrighteous behavior, whereby I will become supremely happy. Tear and drive away in this manner by my delusion on account of desires. Drive away my doubts and desires and make me unchanging of purpose. I do not want meritorious deeds, nor do I want sins. I do not want the trouble of another birth. On surrendering to you, you are there on all the four sides, to the east and the west and in all directions, above in the sky and below in the nether regions. You dwell everywhere and even within me. What more can I say? I am troubled by the thought of the difference between you and me. Therefore, Hemad surrenders wholeheartedly. He holds the feet of the Sadguru firmly. By avoiding the cycle of birth and death, he gets himself uplifted. By making Hemad the instrument, he wrote his own life story for the upliftment of his innumerable devotees. Is this not an unparalleled deed? It was incredible that this Sai Samartha's Satcharita should have been written at my hands. If it had not been for Sai's grace, it would have been impossible for an insignificant person like me. My association with him was not of long standing. I had not the experience to know saints, nor the discerning capacity. Moreover, I was always doubting and an unbeliever. I had never worshipped anyone exclusively and with singular devotion. I had never sat even for a moment to do bhajans. By getting his life story written at the hands of such a person, he demonstrated what he could do to the people. In order to fulfill his own words, Sai himself reminds me about the incidents for this book and accomplishes his own aims. Hemad is used only for name's sake. Can a mosquito lift the Meru mountain? Or can a lapwing empty out the ocean? But when the Sadguru's support is there, the miraculous can happen. So be it. Now, listeners, I do obeisance to you. This book is now complete. I offer to Sai what is Sai's. I prostrate before the whole group of listeners, young and old. In your company, this series of Satcharita has been completed. Who am I to complete it? This is useless pride, for when Sai is the holder of the reins, or strings like a puppeteer, then who am I to say I have done it? Therefore, abandoning pride, which is the root cause of all miseries, let us sing the praises of one's own Guru, who knows the inner tendencies and is enlightening. I now complete this yajna of words. This book is complete. My desire has been fulfilled. The work undertaken for Sai is complete. I have accomplished the object of my existence. All one's desires will be fulfilled by reading such a book from beginning to end, and by holding the feet of the Sadguru close to the heart, one will cross the ocean of worldly existence. The sick will become healthy, the impoverished will become rich, quietude of mind will be gained by people suffering from indecision, and even the destitute will become generous. Repeated reading of the book will exorcise demons and cure epilepsy. Listening to it will be beneficial for the dumb, blind, handicapped, and the deaf. Even those who have forgotten the Almighty Lord, lured by ignorance, will be uplifted. Even those will be uplifted who, though human, behave like demons and waste their bodies in vain, believing this worldly existence to be a mine of happiness. Incredible are the deeds of Sainath. Hemad was established at his feet eternally. By channeling him into his own service, he got this task accomplished. In the end, to the Sadguru, who is the controller of the universe, the inspirer of self-realization, I offer my opus and my head at his feet forever. End of Chapter 52 of Shree Sai Satcharita.